Alright, got this water off, this water heater. The first thing you always want to do, okay, I'll swing this down a little bit. You see that gas line right here. Just got to just make sure it's off before we go nuts. So we're going to start disconnecting anything or doing anything like that. Just make sure that I'm going to do it safely. So now that gas is off, we can get back to disconnecting this kind of stuff here. So I'm opening this valve down here at the bottom. There's a drain port. Hooked up a garden hose to it. It's kind of hard to show you all this because setting up that camera that many times. So now what I'm going to do, I got the gas shut off to it. I got the water off. Now I'm going to start emptying it out a little bit. And if these are ground level and they're out in a backyard or they're out somewhere, you actually really don't even have to drain them down all the way, because what you can do, what I do, I drain them down, I don't know, maybe a quarter to half of the way at least, and then I just take the dolly and cart it outside and let it drain while I install the other one. You know, save some time. There's no reason to just sit and wait for it, you know, if you don't have to. So make these connections. There's no reason to break these. I mean, I could just cut, I mean, I am going to cut them up here, but I like to save the copper, you know, so I'll just do that. Break them a little bit, get some air in there, help it drain. Take my cutters, and actually will cut them up here. And we're going to adapt on the new ones. Can you see that okay? Let me see if you guys can even see what I'm doing here. So I'm actually going to cut this with these cutters. Should go all the way around. And get all the connections loose first and let it drain down as much as we can get it. There we go. We're also going to replace this valve here, so I'm going to take this off as well. Take this off a little bit higher, maybe right there, so we have room for the valve. And you can hear it chugging, means it's draining down. Alright. This thing is, oh yeah, it's not even screwed together. Oh man. Okay, that just came right out, so we'll have to redo that. That's what happens sometimes when these things are this old. Now you could leave these on there for handles, you know, or something when you're going to cart it out, but I mean, it's okay. We don't necessarily need that. We're just going to take it a couple feet away down to see. Now you can see how nasty these things are. Okay, back to the grind here. So we've got all that in place. See what I'm doing. So disconnect this stuff from here. We're gonna put a new one on here anyway, so it doesn't Doesn't necessarily matter if we break it or something. It's going to be garbage. So get this sucker to turn independent from here. I'll get this one to turn. Trash that. This is the especially important one that you don't want to. There you go. For some reason they used a bigger gas line than they needed, so phone is driving me crazy. So let's throw some gloves on. It'll rip right through these gloves. Help us get a better grip on this water heater. Don't be stupid, just wear gloves. Don't be proud. Don't be a cowboy. This thing is old. I can tell just by the marking on it. So I can feel it's not empty all the way. It doesn't really have to be. Gonna throw it hard. Okay. Okay. So now we can push it out here. And we'll just let this puppy drain here. And look at all that sediment. See how it's all white? Probably filled up with rocks. Okay, so we're gonna remove all that stuff, sweep it out, and show you what we're gonna do next. Alright, so we got water heater moved out of the way. We're gonna go and get the valve and the adapters soldered in. We're gonna change out this adapter here because it's the wrong size. It is the wrong size. So whatever that little gunk is, we'll get that off real quick. Shine it up. There we go. So we get this. But you always want to back this up. It's very important that you back it up. You don't want this to twist, because if we turn this is all going to turn. You can turn in the wall, and then you're going to have a gas leak, and that's not good if you're not a plumber. Let's get a little bit more leverage on it. So the leverage is the best when they're closest together. So what you don't want to do is try and turn when they're separated like this. You have almost no leverage. But when they're close together like this, it should be very easy to turn whatever you need with very little effort. That's how the wrenches do all the work. You know, you don't want to have this arthritis or whatever, you know, just from plumbing. I mean, let the wrench do the work. So we're gonna throw some tape on this. And you know, with gas fittings, since they're such low pressure, you actually don't really even need this tape. But I like to do it anyway just to be safe because it is gas. So kind of keep that clean a little bit. Oh yeah, this thing is broken. Oh well. Use it anyway. Just put a little bit on there. Just to lube it up. And the reason why we're changing this out is because I could tell when I looked at it, it's too big for our hose, for what we're using it for. So the first one's loose, it's okay to turn it like this. Once you start getting tight, it's the same thing when you're tightening. The leverage is when they're close together. There's no leverage when they're separated. So we'll give it another twist. Oh, it should be good. Maybe one more. There we go. Okay, so that's good to go. So now we'll get started on our up here. So let's sand that off. Sand that off. Remember, this is the one. This is the cold side over here. So this is the one that's gonna have a ball valve on it. It's not gonna do you any good to put a ball valve on the wrong side. Now I had another one. There it is. That's the one I want. So I'll take this. Like I said, I don't like to use this stuff as a workbench, but in this instance, I don't think this person's gonna mind. Like a glove. Okay, so what I like to do is just give it a little spush. That won't slide off at all. Perfect. There we go. You know, I'm not real big on this flux because it doesn't seem like it's really that good, but this is what the supply house had. They're out of the other stuff that I usually like, so I just settled with it. It's just small, and you want to really crimp the copper, not the fitting, because the fitting's a little thicker. So wipe off all of our joints so that kind of looks like we care about what we're doing. Yeah, hopefully sometimes these things slide off when they're like this if you don't crimp them enough, but it's alright. Cross that bridge when we get to it. Good, easy, an easy one. So now we'll do the next one. This one, I'll leave a gap ever so slightly so we can get the solder moving there. You always want to get all the residual flux off of there, because the flux is acid, so it wouldn't make sense to leave it on there. So I always see copper that's like real green. For that reason, they didn't wipe off the flux. We'll leave it facing like that. I feel like that's a better way. Let's see if these braided hoses, if I can make the turn. Guess I didn't really think about that part. I have other flex hoses though, you know, so if I need to use other ones, which I am going to, we'll go grab them from my truck. I think that's just going to be too much of a turn. It's a shorter one here and a longer one here, because I think we're going to have to make that turn. So I'll show you how I do something like this. So get that started there, and then what you don't want to do is kink these. So you want it to be a mild curve, like a roller coaster. It's okay if it's turned like that. It's okay if the water does a loop-de-loop, but it's not okay, you know, if the thing is like this. It's okay if it's like this, curved, but it's not okay if it's like a, you know. So this one actually might be kind of tough, but I think I could do it. You always use two hands when you're doing this. You never want to I'm not real concerned how it looks, because all the customer's going to care about is, does it leak? And the answer is no. No, it does not leak. And whenever you're doing anything chrome, you want to either use a crescent wrench or some smooth jaw channel locks, which I also have those in my truck as well. But when you're reaching at funny angles like this, it's not always practical to have a pair of channel locks in your hand. Sometimes it's better just to have a crescent wrench. And I'm backing it up with my arm. See how I'm doing that? Because I don't want it to, if I do that, it's going to want to spin. The whole thing's going to want to spin. So I'm backing it up. Same thing with this. Back it up like this. Keep it from spinning. That's how it's going to get all mangled. You know, that's what you don't want. Boom. Okay, so that's in. So now we're going to do the same thing with our other guy. If I can find my, right in front of my face. Am I getting old? Couldn't I see that? So we'll give this just a couple of turns. Probably like that is good. I'm always satisfied with that. And you know, the lady, she told me she doesn't have gas right now, so I can't even turn this thing on, but we're going to treat it like there is gas, because when they come tomorrow to turn the gas on, or Monday or whatever, you know, then there is going to be gas. Now the thing about this, you got to be very careful with this one, because in the past I've actually turned this so hard that I split this and this is the gas valve. If you split that, you're in trouble. That is not good. So we gotta back this up, and we'll give this some turns. And once, I mean, you want it to be tight, obviously, you don't want it to leak, but what you don't want is you don't want to be wrenching. If you find yourself wrenching on this like sinking Hercules, it's getting too tight. So I'll probably get maybe another turn out of it. Good, and that's good. It's not going to leak. You don't need to go bananas with it. You know, with this, I always like to put a little just on the tip, just to lube it up. Make sure it's straight, because here's what you want to see. You want that to be flush on there. So we're gonna turn this guy, but now we have to back this one up, because if you don't, you gotta turn the whole thing and undo all that meticulous work that you just did and snap it anyway. There we go. Okay, so then now grab a male adapter with a piece of copper, and that'll be the drain for this one. And this water heater is almost done. So I went and got some more pieces out of my truck. It looks like it being at an angle is not going to work like how it should. So what we're going to do is that for sure has to be in straight like that. So what we'll do is we'll break this guy loose. Get a measuring tape, wherever that's at, in this cluster, and then we'll cut our extension so that we can keep this straight. That's where it needs to be, because the new water heater is just a little bit fatter than the old one. So just crimp that up a little bit. Just put the extension over from piece to piece. We'll say a 7-inch piece. So then I'll go here and measure out. Got a Sharpie handy. Sharpie. This probably works the same. So I forgot I had this here. Actually, just do this. Keep it up against there. Very slowly. Very slowly. I actually prefer to do that. And if you noticed, I didn't move the saw at all. I moved the piece because I know where the saw's at, and I know where my leg is at. So I don't want to move the saw and keep the piece still, because that could have turned out not good for my leg. Let's get that wedged in there. Okay. And we'll see if we can get our other piece. Don't worry, I'll clean all this off too. Don't worry. Looks like that's gonna work. Now height wise, I have to trim it down to about, oh, probably right there. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. We're gonna keep our blades still, and we're going to keep our legs still. And an angle. Okay, if we got some of these boogers and burrs and everything, that's okay, because we covered all with tape and screws. And so this is how you make a ghetto version of just kind of make it yourself, like an oblong, because I got rid of all the sheet metal tools that I had, so there's no way I could be able to make this stuff without just kind of fabricating it myself, you know. There we go. Still in there? Yep, still in there. Okay, good. Okay. Let's go grab some more screws from my truck. Good. Good. Okay. We're going to take this foil tape. this isn't the right tape. Let me go grab the right tape. Got the right tape. All the way around the joint, somewhat straight. I mean, it doesn't need to be exactly, but you want the screws and you want the tape. So the screws hold it together, the tape seals it in so that the exhaust gas doesn't just come flying out all over into the room that you're in, which in this case is just a laundry room, but it doesn't matter. That's what we got to do, so that's what we're doing. So, but at least one and all the way around. And we'll see if we can seal that up a little bit. That's an old style collar, and it's recessed in the ceiling. So it might be a little bit difficult to get to, but it worked before, so I'm sure it's fine, but we'll do our best to seal it up. There we go. Okay, last one down here I'll do. This one's a little bit weirder because it's kind of angled, you know, so just put it on kind of like that and smush it down. Good for that, even though it kind of doesn't look the best, I don't think, but you know. One more seal right in front. Come back here, and we'll take a rough measurement of where we want our, where we're going to want that. So if you can see this, it's a little bit crooked, it's not angled down. I want it to be down. Okay, good. So we'll take our tape measure and we'll measure how long we want it. It's only going to sit to about right here so that it doesn't spit on anyone's face. So 42-inch piece we'll cut with our missing copper cutters. This is what happens when you don't keep it clean. Don't be like me. So we'll cut a 42-inch piece and then we'll solder it on. This will be an easy one. Even though this is brand new, gotta get it just a little bit cleaner. And then we'll just do the edge of this. And since it's already sitting like this. We'll just solder on like that, and then we'll cut it. 32 inch. Now this is type M copper, which is a thin wall, basically like the equivalent of like a schedule 20 or something, or schedule 30 or whatever in PVC. So it's a thinner wall and it's a thinner weight, but I would not recommend necessarily using this on a water line. But since this is for a TMP, a drain line, and it's not under full pressure, it's open-ended on one end, it's definitely okay. You could use it on a water line. I just would not recommend it though, you know. And you can't use it underground. Technically, you're not supposed to use it underground. You're not supposed to use it in a commercial application, but for a regular residential house or something, you could use it, but it's just not the best because it's so thin. So, it's a good joint. Looks good. It's probably too much, but oh well. Ooh. And I'll take my rag and I'll just wipe it off so there's not a bunch of excess that someone can get their hand all messy on. Alright, looks good. So we'll just start filling it up.